All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's doing well.
Hello.
How's everyone?
We're back. Another week.
Yeah, another week. We tried to cancel ourselves, but we couldn't do it. So literally, I was actually going to say, was going to say this to Greg, but I figured I'd just say it out here on the podcast. Well, on the before cast, we're not going to talk about this in the after cast, people, or even in the during cast, because none of those people care. But every single week, almost without exception, I'm not sure when Greg's going to show up. Like, I'll send him the thing maybe 10 minutes beforehand. And typically he makes it at like 57. So like 2 to 3 minutes before we go live. Like, I'm sitting here usually about 10 or so minutes beforehand just to make sure. And then you never know. Today at 00, Greg pulls in. I'm like, we're going to have to do a thing where if he is ever late, he has to like donate to our charity or something. I think is what we're going to have to do.
Well, I'm not, I'm never late.
No, you're never late, but this is the closest you've ever been to late.
It was pretty close. There's a lot of last minute setup. I'm like, where's my SD card? Oh no. So,
but I feel like that should be a thing. If Greg is ever late by 1 minute, we need to get him to, I don't know, donate to something or something. I don't know. Buy me a Mac Mini or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm not donating to anything, so I'm not like that. I'm greedy.
This is true. Of course, maybe I need to be greedy. I don't know.
They call me Greedy Greg.
Greedy double G, baby. That's the double G right there. Okay. Let's see. We got people showing up. Good to see everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. We got everybody doing it big. Ooh. It's Brandon Bros in the house from Facebook. Apple Monster. All right. Yeah, we'll talk about a bunch of things and probably just get off on a tangent of nothing in particular because it's the first week in a while we haven't had any guests, so we're gonna talk. Double G in the house.
Yeah. After last week's show, I think we're good on guests for at least the rest of the year.
Yeah, we did pretty good. We did pretty good. I mean, last week was a super show. Most views on our YouTube channel in a little while, at least anyway. And then the downloads have been okay. They'll probably continue as time goes on because it's only been a weekend, and we usually get a good amount of views, like even the week or so after. Weirdly enough, it's weird because some people listen to this stuff, after it's timely, and that's really interesting. I don't know. I think we get lucky there. Did you have Werther's Originals for your stuffing?
No.
So that's the after.
Yeah, come on. I'm not going to ruin the purity of a Werther's Original by putting it in my stuffing. That's just gross. Okay. I love Werther's, but
we also need to figure out. We can do it in the show, but we also need to figure out the call thing. We need to figure out the call date, like what day we're going to do that.
And the holidays are coming up. I said,
yeah,
around the holidays if we're going to do it. Yeah, we'll do something.
And then we need to do our super show. Yesterday, I broke my own record of 320 concurrent on my live stream, which was exciting.
I missed that live stream, so I feel cheated. Like I'm usually there, even if I'm silent. I usually throw in the chat, but I was busy making my own video, and then I saw it. I saw you say like you broke your record, and I was like, I wasn't there. I feel bad.
Yeah, and we gave away a lot to charity, which is great. And Renee Ritchie was there, and a bunch of other people.
What?
Yeah, they were all there. It was cool. And I will say this. The charity was great. It was for suicide prevention, which I think is awesome. And it was just a great time. Now we need to do the super show. And for those of you who don't know what the super show is, the real super show, super stream is what it is. I'm not even sure that it needs to be a podcast. It's more about the live interaction. Like, we should promote it on the podcast, but it's about going live on all of our channels simultaneously. And
yes,
that's going to be an interesting, I'm really excited for that because it's interesting.
there's a surprising amount of people that subscribe to both of our channels who don't tune into GadgetCast, and I really do think they're missing out. Now,
this is a way to get them in.
Yeah, we've done a lot
100%.
of call to actions on our channel, but I think like a forced GadgetCast on them, they can discover if they like it, and I think a lot of people will like it, and they'll probably become GadgetCast converts easily. But we just
think so
do it because it's easy to you tell people like, oh, go check out this thing. But, they're there for the YouTube video, and it's, I'm like that too. I go to something, people are like, check this out. And it's like, I'm here to watch the video. And then you kind of forget about it by the end of it. So by showing people the GadgetCast, I think a lot of people will be like, oh, this is a really cool. Wait, Greg is live every week. Travis is live every week for this bonus thing.
Yep.
That's so cool. I want to check that out because.
And most people that have checked it out have really liked it. I mean, we even have creators that are watching pretty often. Which is awesome.
This is
I don't know 504. So here's something that happened during my live stream because I turned on the when you do your live stream, you can set up monetization. You also set up a charity, right? So I set mine up for a charity. What I didn't know is that OBS doesn't acknowledge any donations that way. So I thought the entire stream, no one had donated. When by the time the stream was almost over, I found out that like over $100 and something had been donated or something. I'm like, oh, so I don't know exactly what it was. The other thing about that 504 is they don't tell you. Like the donations don't even show up in my back end. I have no idea. I'd have to go back and count in during the live stream. Michael Pepper.
Interesting.
Post videos on your channels that promote. I mean, I don't think we need. I think just doing this live stream will do that because not everyone wants to be around for live. I think I'm actually getting more excited the more I think about it because my live stream momentum and the fact that Greg hasn't done many, which means people are going to be a little bit more interested, and he has a lot of subscribers. And the last time he's done a live stream, are going to be interested in at least being there. I mean, we're going to have 500-600 people total across all. That's really exciting. So I'm hyped about that.
I've resisted doing live streams on my channel for a long time because I thought it would literally destroy my channel. But after about a year of Travis telling me it's fine, it's not going to destroy your channel, and then me actually taking that advice and doing a couple live streams, I have found out that it does not destroy your channel.
Right.
So
anymore. Used to, but not anymore.
Yeah. So
I mean, you've had some bangers lately. Even I think the other day you had one. I watched. I think it was your latest one. Anyway, let's get into the regular GadgetCast before we start talking about all that stuff. Let's just.
Oh, you know what? I got to change my setting before we start. Actually.
Okay. Long story 619. It was an algorithmic thing. Like 2 years ago, it used to mess up. It's dumb. It should never have been a thing, but it did. They fixed it though. But most creators are still under the impression that it's bad for your channel, but it's not anymore.
Did they fix premieres?
They did so much so that John Prosser is pretty much only using premieres now. Because he texted me, he goes, "Dude, are you sure it's okay?" I said, "Dude, it's okay, it's okay." So he did his premiere when he first came back, and he's been doing it ever since. And I texted him the other day. I go, "Oh, you're really in love with premieres?" He goes, "Yeah, I really like it." He gets like 6,000 concurrent and then 30,000 views in the first hour or something. So, yeah.
I feel like what would I premiere? I would need something so hype.
So I usually do an end of year video and or a 1 year later video, like at my year. But my year marks in January. I will be doing a live stream for my birthday, so we need to figure that out. But which is December 26th. But yeah, I don't know. Like I only do a couple of videos I premiere. What would you do? I mean, I don't even know what yours would even be, Greg, because you kind of need to be out there quickly. You need to do something special, like not a vlog, but like a, I don't know, like Greg's end of year. No, you could do your end of year, Apple products that you should buy. The 20, like that would make sense. You could premiere
that. Yeah, I guess. I wasn't aware I was doing that video. That sounds scary.
I mean, you could. Can you imagine the affiliate sales from it though? You should consider it.
Oh,
yeah, you're welcome.
Sure. You know what?
Not a bad idea. I didn't really thought about that. Yeah, you're welcome. All right.
Best Apple products and accessories end of the year video. I probably should have had that ready for like Black Friday though.
Exactly. Well, but still, hey, people are buying stuff from now on. Plus Cyber Monday. Listen,
I gotta get on that, guys.
You better get on it today.
If you see that video, you heard it here first.
The sneak peek. All right, let's get into this. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Ready to record GadgetCast number whatever. In 3, 2, 1, record.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of the Gadget Cast. My name is Gregory McFadden, joined always by my co-host Travis MCP.
Space travel.
And hits it right on the mark. I know Greg starts to rub his nipples every time he gets that right because it's kind of hard. he got it though. He nailed it. Good. I like the cadence that you have. The cadence is good.
Yeah.
You're doing good things with that, Greg. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. It's been very hectic, I think, for both of us probably. Working on tons of videos and just a lot of personal life stuff too. So, and then last week we had the mega show, super show. If you didn't listen to that, please do. It was a real treat. We had on Renee Ritchie, Luke Miani, and Gary, the Everyday Dad. Gary gets a special title, which is kind of cool. We had all of them on. It actually went a lot better than I think we both expected because I kind of wanted to do that super show because they all did have excellent points on those new M1 Max, and I really wanted to bring in the expertise there for people, and I think that went over really well, and especially in the after show and all that stuff, answering questions. Really great show. And, before the show, Travis was like, that's a lot of people. You think you can handle this? And I'm like, oh, can I handle it? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. But I think it went over really well. Yep. And if you didn't listen to that show, go do it. It was really good.
Really well handled, man. You did a great job. And I think it went off really well. Lots of information there. Actually, I was talking to a friend, and they were asking, what M1 Max should I get? I was like, here, just listen to this podcast. Literally, your questions are going to be answered to the nth degree. It was really, really well done. And there still are questions about it because, and I know that you have your video that you just came out with talking about the next version, which is important. I saw that good friend of the show, CJ from CJ Knows Tech, who I think he's changed the channel to CJ Unleashed, had an interesting video today. I'm starting to see a little bit more of this where the MacBook Pro did not beat his 16-inch MacBook in a render test. And then I also saw Emilio Takas, who's a good friend, who he just got his Mac Mini, and while it did well, it rendered in more than real time, which is longer than what a lot of these other videos are being. In the case of CJ, I would say to him, yeah, but this isn't the high-end Mac Pro.
Right.
So the 16-inch is the high-end Mac Pro. So technically it's not fair. I think what he was doing, which is fair, is that a lot of people were saying, oh, it's even better than that. And maybe in some instances it is. Certainly for the power draw, the fans and stuff like that, it totally is. But yeah, from a performance standpoint, it shouldn't be better. The fact that it's even fighting it at all is amazing. But in Emilio's sense, it's really interesting because he did a 4K 10-minute video that took 12 minutes to render, which is unusual considering most people are showing substantial. Are you using your Mac Mini at all?
Yeah, I've been using the Mac Mini.
Yeah. So did you do a render test at all to see what you could get out of it, or? Yeah.
So I did a 4K export, no render done, no pre-render, and it was a 10-minute 4K file. Granted, these are hard, right? People use different cameras. People using codecs.
Yes, he did.
Using the Sony footage, and that took I'm going to say 3 minutes and 12 seconds, if I remember correctly, to do.
Lord, that's incredible.
When I did that on my 2019 iMac, that took 6 minutes and 28 seconds or something like that. So, and this is spec'd out to the gills. It's like a $4,000 iMac. So I'm seeing really impressive results with my stuff. But again, that's in Final Cut. That's with certain footage. When you get into the professional world, people can have a bunch of different things thrown in the mix. Maybe they're using more graphics and stuff than me. That's kind of, maybe their dedicated GPUs doing a little bit more work there. So it's kind of hard to get a concrete answer. But I think you kind of hit the point of these are like entry-level machines. Like they really shouldn't be beating the maxed out models. And they're not like, you know, it's kind of like joking because they are really good. It's almost tempting to be like, oh my God, it's magic. They're not magic. They're not going to somehow pull ahead of like a Mac Pro in some instances and all that stuff. But I think the real takeaway here is they are really powerful for the machines they're replacing. And even if they don't beat out your like 16-inch MacBook Pro, it's almost tempting just to switch because of the battery life and how like efficient these machines run. Like there's a lot of other benefits besides power in these machines. I know us, you know, the people who are doing like video stuff on it, it's like, oh, the raw power. For most people, they're just be like, oh my God, the battery lasts forever.
Yep.
And I never heard the fan turn on once.
Yep. 100%. And I'll be honest, twice this week, 2 or 3 times this week, I had the Mac Mini in my order thing. I actually ordered it once. I canceled it in 15 minutes because I try to talk myself down. But one of the main reasons I haven't ordered the Mac, there's a couple of reasons why I haven't ordered the Mac Mini. First, I don't really need it, although I'm very interested. But I'm really interested because it's $700. But I realize that I really need to get 16 gigs, in which case it's not $600. It's more like $1,000. At that point, I'm a little bit more skittish. And you can't get the Mac Mini 16 gig on Amazon, which is important to me for various reasons. You have to get it from Apple. And right now, as it stands right now, you've got to wait until almost January to get the 16 gig version of the Mac Mini. So I would have to settle for the 8 gig if I wanted to, which is not necessarily a bad thing. However, one of the things that actually had me worried was at idle. I saw that Amelia was talking about in his video that at idle, the Mac Mini was using 7-point-something gigs straight up. And that worried me. I'm like, whoa. That's a lot right off the bat. That leaves no real headroom. So I was immediately thinking, okay, well, 16 gigs. I'm not worried about storage because, you know, that's easy to solve. But you can't solve the RAM issue. It's soldered on. So you have to make that decision. You don't have to make the storage decision, but you have to make the RAM decision.
Yeah. That seems very high for idle RAM usage. That's one of the first things I tested out because it was called unified memory. You know, it was kind of like, well, does this work the same way as RAM? It kind of does. It's pretty much RAM, right? But yeah, when I tested out, I wasn't I think it was like 2 gigs idle and stuff.
So in fairness, I believe it was when he had Final Cut open, but not really doing anything else. Having said that, that is one of the use cases I would potentially be having is with Final Cut open. So
well, I can give you real world stuff.
Okay.
Listen, it's still 8 gigabytes. It's not gonna no matter what Apple did with their silicon, it's not gonna be able to magically ramp up if you need it higher. With Final Cut, again, using my Sony footage, I would say as long as the project is around like 10 minutes, I don't really see any issues. Now, that's like most YouTube videos. They're like 10-minute videos, right? Maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter. For those types of clips, 4K, 10 minutes, really no issues in my timeline. With that being said, if I go over 10 minutes, there's times where I will notice some slowdowns, the occasional, like it's swapping RAM with the hard drive. So a little bit of beach ball, but still pretty impressive given the price point of these systems. But I would say for anyone who does want to do 4K video editing, if your projects are longer than 10 minutes, I would recommend a 16 gigabyte version. I would probably, any video editor, I'd probably just recommend 16 gigabytes. But if you do like short videos, you can get by with 8 gigabytes for sure.
Yeah, I think that was my only concern. And at first it wasn't a concern at all. I was thinking storage, but then I realized that you can obviously add that through, USB-C and everything. So yeah, it's interesting thought. By the way, and I'm checking this right now, I got a text earlier and I saw, it's so funny because this was in the news just the other day and I'm like, welcome to my world. And then it happened. Xfinity is going around and telling everyone, at least more states, that they are capping they're capping the 1.2 terabytes per month usage. I actually got a text earlier today that I went over for the second time this year. I don't typically go over. I'm actually trying to figure out. So if I have my courtesy, they give you 2 months of courtesy where they don't charge you. They're going to waive my overage fees. This is your complimentary month for the next 12 months. So this is I got 12 more months before I can go over again. So now I got to, and then otherwise it's $10 for 50 gigs, which is, listen, I get it. They need to kind of they need to pay attention to how much people are using their services. But good googly goo, I'm not. I have to think the only thing that is causing me to go over on my internet usage was the Xbox Series X, which we can start talking about that and stuff. I think downloading a couple games. I think, but I don't remember downloading that many games. I think that is what pushed me over.
I think data caps are the biggest. I don't want to say a curse word, but it's the biggest B and S ever. Like, ask your internet company, how much does it cost to transport a gigabyte of data? They won't be able to answer that. They can't give you the raw cost of how much it takes to transfer data. 1.2 terabytes. I remember reading through some like Twitter thread of where like someone was complaining about this, and like the customer response to it was just awful. Whoever was doing customer service on Twitter, it's like 1.2 terabytes is a lot of data, and it wouldn't be fair if we charge all customers the same, and only 95% of customers actually go over this limit. Now, listen, I think overage things are, again, that word. I don't think they should exist. But even if they do exist, how are you going to charge $10 for 50 gigabytes more? Like, at least be like, all right, $10 for 500 more gigabytes. Because depending on the internet plan, it just doesn't add up to me. Like, how is, like, all of a sudden you're going to be spending more of your internet plan if you go over like 500 gigs than you would if you just paid for the 1 terabyte. So it really doesn't make sense to me how like these data caps.
I'm going to have to figure out how much more it is for unlimited. I just looked at my last 4 months, and since August, September, October, we're all at like 1 terabyte, which is amazing to me because I'm like, I stream thanks, Emilio. I streamed stuff on obviously TV and 4K, but the thing is I stream mostly YouTube, which is not 4K. I'm not streaming 4K YouTube. So I know that I upload some of my videos, which are not that big. I'm just trying to figure out how the heck am I using 1 terabyte a month? I not too long ago added some more IP cameras. It's kind of crazy. You have been charged $10 for additional data provided your usage. I thought they said I weren't giving me that. Listen, I don't know what to say. This overage thing, at one point it was a 1 terabyte. They added the extra 200 gigabytes not that long ago, so I was thankful for that. But the fact that I was hitting 1 terabyte for the last couple of months is kind of crazy. I don't know what. Leave us an email or a voice message. Do you even know if you have a overage limit with your internet provider? If you do, let us know what it is, and if you ever gone over it, what are they charging you? Is it Xfinity? What do you think about that? It's so crazy. It's such a weird thing to have to worry about, especially now that we're all, and you know what, with this pandemic happening and we're all being closed back into our houses again, we're having to use our internet even more, like even more than ever before. Like California, I think starting tomorrow, Monday, depending on when you listen to this, is a stay home order. It's like one of the worst. It's like, don't go anywhere type order. So it's nuts, man.
Yes. I'm so thankful to live where I live and get free plug Verizon Fios. No data caps, gigabit up and down. So thank you, Verizon. Keep doing that.
I wish I had that in my area.
I'll say nice things about you for the rest of my life if you keep doing that. Please, no data caps. I will go berserk.
It's that, you know, I wanted to get Verizon, but I can't because it's just not in my area. I'm gonna look again though, because after this is shenanigans. I just looked at, and over the last couple of months, I've been very close to 1 terabyte, which means if I do anything unusual, like the new game comes out and I want to download it, it's a wrap. I'm over. So, and it's not like $10 or $15, $20, whatever's going to, destroy my bank account. It's not. But at some point, it's like, I don't want to have to even think about it. Like, I don't want to know about that. I'm not trying to worry about that. So,
yeah, what is like Call of Duty? It's like 100 gigabytes over.
Oh, Lord.
So it's like,
and that's the thing is, just based on my normal usage, just looking what I just saw, any game like that would put me over for the month. Just one game. So, and I still don't understand what the hell is. I feel like there's a leaky faucet in here, a leaky internet faucet. I gotta take a look at my router and see what the heck is going on, because
is there any option to pay for like unlimited, or it's just like, nah?
I think so. I'm going to look for it. I'm going to look into it. Ironically, when I was looking to get business internet, it was actually slower and more expensive than the faster home internet. So I ended up getting the home internet one instead. So I'm going to look into that, because to me, that's shenanigans. It's terrible. Terrible, terrible.
I feel like, I guess I could tell a story on GadgetCast. Where else am I gonna tell it? At one point, I was strongly considering getting a studio for myself, a dedicated studio space, and I was gonna, rent it out somewhere at a business. I think I talked about this at one point at GadgetCast. It was like the same space that like MKBHD uses, like the same studio.
Oh, is it? Is it really?
Oh yeah. Yep. It's like this big studio by me. So I was like gonna go use it, and I was like, oh man, it was a really cool place. Like that place where like Marquez does like his like roof shots. Like I went up top there, and I'm like, can I use this for like video stuff? And they're like, oh yeah, of course you can. I'm like, I know I could, because I see Marquez do it all the time. But like I was looking at this place, the prices were reasonable for like renting out a studio there. So I was like really into it. And I was like getting ready to like sign like this lease to like get like this dedicated studio space. Thank God I didn't, by the way, because this was like pre-pandemic. Like if I rented that out, like I wouldn't be able to go there. Like I would be like,
how far away is it from your place?
I'd probably be paying what?
How far is it from your place?
It's like 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So I'd probably be paying for it, not going. So it's a good thing I didn't. But the reason why I didn't get the place was the internet. Oh man, they were like trying to like pull something on me. They're like, okay, if you want one port enabled, it's like $50 and it's like 25 megabits. And I'm like, 25 megabits, one port. All right. Yeah. And you can only have like 5 devices connected to it. I'm like, I can only have 5 devices. Like there's like all like these like limits. And like, if you wanted to like raise the devices, it went up. And I was like, just give me like the data and I'll connect as many devices as I want. Like, there's all these like weird limitations, and I just didn't want to deal with that. And I'm like, all right, I'm good. Thanks. No thanks. So internet, man, it's important. I won't live in certain areas if there's, if the internet isn't good, I'm not living there. Sorry, everywhere else.
Yeah, you don't get to have Greg in your fantastic place of living.
Yeah,
Too bad for you.
All right, tech.
So let's talk a little bit more about I guess, should we say Apple, or should we come back to Apple after we talk to the gaming stuff? Now that I'm talking about my internet going over,
I think the gaming stuff is a good segue, and I feel like we're very loose today. So you mentioned this because you saw like something from your internet provider. I would like to mention something my dad sent me during the show. He just texted me, and I don't know why my dad sent this to me. I recently got like a new LG OLED TV for these new consoles that we're about to talk about. And my dad just sends me an article that says LG OLED TVs suffer from unfixable gamma shift when variable refresh rate is enabled. So,
whoa,
I don't know. Thanks.
That's terrible. Well, so there's a lot to talk about here. I can unpack some of this. If you get one of the new consoles, one of the things you can get is 120 hertz gameplay. Now, we've talked about that on phones, but seeing it on a much bigger display for games can be pretty impactful. 60 frames per second is what most people talk about now. 120, I've never seen a 120 frames per second game yet, so I don't know what the difference looks like. I assume it looks better, but I don't know. Having said that, it's not in 4K, and typically depending on the game, it's not in 4K. It's usually res way down, and there's only a couple of games to support it. The Xbox Series X has a really cool feature where it does variable refresh rate, which keeps some of the graphical glitches from happening when it's trying to hit 120 hertz and it can't actually hit 120 hertz a game, such as Call of Duty, although Call of Duty, from what I just watched from Digital Foundry, is doing very well. But that's a feature that you should be able to enable. But it sounds like there's an issue. What's interesting is this isn't the only issue. So for HDMI 2.1, there's a probably unfixable bug on receivers. So I use a receiver for my televisions for like surround sound. So you can have multiple things in, like your Xbox, your Apple TV, and that sort of thing, and it goes out to your television. Plus you get surround sound. So I've been using receivers for years. The sound quality is amazing. You get speakers. You get I have like 7.1, and it's awesome, right? Having said that, the 2.1 HDMI 2.1 receivers that came out this year don't work with 120 hertz Xbox Series X, and it doesn't sound like they're fixable. It's a bug in like the hardware or something crazy like that. So there's that. You got these receivers that the only way you can fix is by plugging directly into the television. Now you have some of the televisions that can't that have a bug that if you try to change them to the feature you want, you can break. This is too early. We're on the cutting, bleeding edge of this technology. Take a minute to take a breath. I mean, I'm doing it. I could upgrade my OLED to the newer one. I'm waiting at least another year. And then I'm going to wait another year or so for a new receiver when everything is all figured out, because this is what happens at the very bleeding edge. Now, having said that, that's only if you enable that feature, I assume, right? I have read that particular thing that you're talking about, Greg.
Yeah, I haven't read it either. I just read the title and I was like, what? I was very mad. I was like, what? What do you mean unfixable? Why can't they fix it? They better be able to fix it. Everything does software updates. My Xbox controller and PlayStation controller had day one updates. I just wanted to play a game. It's like, plug in your controller to update it. I'm like, what? What's going on here? Why are the controllers getting updates now? It's too much. It's too much. But listen, I bought that TV specifically for next gen gaming. I was like, all right, it has 120 hertz. It ticks all the boxes. So if there's something wrong with it, I'm gonna be mad because those TVs are really expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They're not cheap.
I will say, even if it doesn't work, I do love my OLED TV. I got the OLED TV just before the PS5 came out, and I was playing like PS4 games on it. And getting an OLED TV was like more of a graphical jump than going from PS4 to PS5. It was crazy how good the games look on.
Here's something else you should do. Number one, watch as much HDR content as you can. It really is mind blowing. A lot of stuff on Netflix and stuff will do that to you. If you watch the last season of Stranger Things, there's a couple of really great visual things there. But here's what's interesting. Go back and watch Game of Thrones, the episode everyone calls the dark episode. I watched that entire episode when it first came out on my TV, and I never noticed that it was dark. In other words, I could see everything. It wasn't like artificially light either. It just could handle it. And I didn't even know it was controversial till weeks later when people were like, oh, it's not dark. You couldn't see anything. I'm like, what are you talking about? I watched the whole thing. It wasn't a problem. You get an OLED TV, man, it fixes everything. It fixes all your problems, baby. Let me tell you.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate. It fixed all my TV viewing problems. Everything looks great. I'm just hoping I never get burn-in, or else that'll be another conversation.
Yeah, I haven't had that problem. I looked at it the other day, and mine is still like, I think it's 2017. It's one of the earlier OLEDs.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the B series, and it's still great. It doesn't do 120, so that would be the reason to upgrade it. But other than that, like it's wonderful. Dolby Vision, like it's just an incredible set, and OLED's just amazing. Now there is things like mini LED and QLED. QLED is out right now. Some people say it looks better. It just depends, I think, on what you're watching. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options out there. 8K now. What did I post?
You post that $20,000 video?
No, it was $100,000 television. It's $50,000 off.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah.
So you can get that. That's a deal if you have 50,000 laying around somewhere. It's interesting. If you
already bought it. You saw that deal. He's like, ooh, I'm jumping.
Funny you say that. I almost tweeted at him saying something about it, but I'm like, he would have just had it sent to him, so he wouldn't have had to pay for it at all. So I didn't even want to bother him with it. I'm like, come on, Andrew just got it sent to him for free. So anyway, to the console. So what I've been doing a lot on my Xbox lately, I've been playing a lot of really fun games. Game Pass is just so incredible. I'm going to play games I never got a chance to play. Playing the Star Wars game that came out this past year. It's really great. Just the backlog of games that I can play, plus the Black Friday sales of games that are on, like the ability to buy games that are just stupid cheap. But Game Pass is awesome because EA recently merged with them, so you get all those EA games, whether they be sports games or all the Star Wars games, UFC games, like all that's a football, all that stuff. So it's really great to have access to that. But the game I'm playing that I'm having the most fun is one that I did not think I would like as much, but I'm incredibly frustrated by it. And this is something that if this was in my niche, I would make the biggest burn video ever. And that is Watch Dogs Legion. There is a huge bug that they're aware of, and I think it affects both systems. It's certainly affecting me, where the damn thing won't save. There's times where it just plain won't save, and you can play for hours in that game. I've lost probably a total of 3 hours in that game.
Oh no!
Messed up saves.
Too valuable. I'm done.
Bro, how does that get past Q&A? How does a quality assurance person play that game for any length of time, turn it off, come back on, and realize that everything they just did doesn't work, and then pass that? It is absolutely, I am upset by this because I'm actually liking the game a lot more than I thought. I'm getting obsessed, but I can't play it. I'm waiting till the patch comes out, which they say is going to be in December. And I'm like, bro, I want to play this now. I bought it now because Cyberpunk's coming out in a couple of weeks. I don't think I'm going to play it right on release because they say they're going to update it for the next gen consoles more next year. And I'm thinking about just waiting until that happens and then just playing the experience that way. Now I know that graphically it'll even be better now than like the base series Xbox and stuff, and it'll still look really good. But if they're going to do something extra, I'll just wait for it. To be honest. And plus, I'm gonna be playing these other games. I got a whole big ass backlog, so it's fine by me. What about you?
I don't know. Like there's almost like a lack of newer stuff to play, I feel like. So maybe I'll be tempted to get Cyberpunk on the 10th. I don't know. I think I'm gonna wait for reviews for that one. I got a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach about that game. I feel like it's not gonna be good.
What, Cyberpunk?
It's been so overhyped, overpromised.
Here's the thing. If it was done by a different company, a company that didn't do Witcher 3, which by the way, I had no interest in the Witcher series at all until Witcher 3 came out. I was like, let me try this game. And I obsessed over Witcher 3. I love Witcher 3. Like I put so much time into that game. I'm probably gonna play it again because they have patches out for it that I never played through. I am not worried. Mainly because that company is handling it. So I'm actually excited. I'm not worried.
I'm very worried. I don't know. I got a bad feeling. Like Jano was saying, the game has been delayed a ton of times. They got big star power behind it. It has been hyped like crazy, and I've just been burned so bad before from great developers too, who have like had like these like huge promises and stuff like that. I forget what I was reading, but like the length of the game, and it's like I didn't even play any of the story yet, or something like that. And I was just like,
again, I'm not worried about playing it on the 10th. You know, I'm waiting anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not that worried about it. Like I'm gonna be excited for when by the time I get around to it, it's probably gonna have the Game of the Year edition anywhere, or however long it takes them to get that patch out. So yeah, I mean, yes, we do play games here on GadgetCast. We were talking about
play games,
doing like a members only live stream for like gaming and stuff.
Travis and I have to figure out a game to play on Xbox because
there's a couple. There's one that I'll play with you right away. It's cross compatible with PC, Xbox, and xCloud, which means you can play it on your PC, on your Xbox, or on your Android phone through the cloud, and it saves across all three. It's first of all, wow. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And it's co-op. And it's super fun. It's on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, it's called something Rock something. Xbox Game Pass. It's like it's Rock something. I love it. It's a great game. It's a first-person shooter with it's like you're mining at the same time that you're shooting. It's so fun. I think it would be great. If someone in the chat knows what it is, put it in the chat. It's Rock something. The name is terrible though. That's the only problem. Rock Game Pass. Rock game. It's called damn it. Oh, Deep Rock Galactic. Up to 4-player co-op. Lots of fun. You're a dwarf, which is always fun. You can up level your stuff. It's lots of fun. I think we should play that first. We should play it on Twitch, on our Twitch streams, and see what else happens. Really fun, lots of fun.
I'd be down for that. Speaking of Xbox stuff, I was looking real quick because I know I got this deal at Best Buy, but I see it's still up on Target. It's actually a better deal. I'm kind of mad. But if you want Xbox Game Pass, 3 months. Ultimate, it's the Ultimate, so it comes with Live and Game Pass. $20 for 3 months on Target. So like stack up on some codes and like.
So I bought those. I bought a couple of those. I'm going to give you another hack. Keep an eye. Go to like Amazon or something and find the EA Pass, the 12-month EA Pass. Now, as I told you before, EA is merged with Game Pass. Here's something that people don't know. They convert. But they convert at a different number. So the 12 months converts to 4 months. So basically, if you buy a 12-month card for like $25, you're basically getting 4 months for the price of this 3-month deal. So right now, I bought a couple of those. You just want to wait for those to go on sale. Right now, they're $30. You just wait for those to go on sale, and then grab a bunch of those, and then add them to your thing, and you actually convert them to 4 months. So I found that on Slick Deals. I've done that as well. So yeah, it's been great. I've been cashing all that stuff in.
Yeah, if you play any sort of games on PlayStation or Xbox, never pay full price for PS Plus or Xbox Live. Every Black Friday, every year I've been playing these systems, it's always the same thing. You get those you get that at least like $20 off every year. Never ever pay full price for those memberships. Just get ready for Black Friday. And I think with both services, you can stack them too. So get like 2 years, like just sit comfortable. Every Black Friday, you'll always get that deal to renew. I always stack up on like a couple every Black Friday. And I've never paid full price for those services, which is good because you want to save money. On PlayStation 2, if you have PS Plus, they have like a bunch of like their greatest hits. It's almost like a Game Pass kind of thing. And they have some really excellent games on PS Plus. This really has shaped up to be like, even like the new systems and stuff, the value you get out of these services are pretty excellent. I was actually surprised to see how much value PlayStation was delivering with their Plus subscription after using Game Pass. And yeah, Game Pass has more titles, but like the caliber of games you get on PS Plus are really good for the price point. So definitely get both of those services. If you have a next gen system, you'll be playing a lot of games. Yeah, I still need to play more Xbox, honestly. I got the Series X recently.
Oh, it came in?
Yeah, it came in. I've just been so busy. I took it out of the box. I put it in my entertainment center. I haven't plugged it in. So I took it out of the box. I put it in my entertainment center. I haven't plugged it in. I've just been like staring at it going, I need to like play this because
you need to do the updates too. You need to just set it up just to do the updates. I was
playing the S for a while and I was very underwhelmed by the S. I think I'm going to end up returning the S because I really was underwhelmed by it. I think it was like overpromised to me because I thought like, oh, it'll be like 1440p. That's like the only compromise. And I remember getting into an argument with Andrew Edwards before it even shipped. And Andrew Edwards was like, no, it's gonna be the same game. It's just 1440p. And I'm like, no, Andrew, I've like been through like so many console generations. I know like it's not powerful enough to handle those games with the specs it has. And sure enough, like every like launch article I read about, it's like, it's not even at 1080p. It's at like 900p and it's like 30 frames per second. I'm like, all right, I knew it. Like,
yeah, if you ever want to get into super nerd, you go to Digital Foundry.
Yeah,
they slice and dice everything, and they've done the last couple of games across S. They even did an S video, and they really explain it. It is barely a 1080p machine on the next generation games, which is kind of disappointing. Of course, I don't care because I got the X, but yeah, it's definitely not what has been basically promised.
Yes. So I was thinking like maybe I'll keep the S because it's like a secondary console because I have a PS5, but it's like, you know what? I don't want any compromise. No. The storage is awful. It's a 512 gigabyte drive, but then like 324 of it is useful. So it's like you download like 3 games and it's like, all right, that's it. So I'm pretty sure the S is getting returned. I got like a longer period to exchange it because of the holidays. I do have a gaming channel where I do have to make content. People remind me. I think I'm gonna make the classic video where I'm like, do not buy this thing. So
yeah, you do need to. Yeah, I'm
gonna get my value out of that. I'm gonna be like, you know what? I got some thoughts about this. You don't see that from Greg too often, but we're gonna get savage over on that game.
Love it.
When the content comes out.
Yeah, whenever that happens.
I was planning like, all right, when these consoles launch, you're gonna see so much gaming content. But then like Apple is like, we're gonna announce like everything like these months, and I've just been like too busy to do it. And listen, if I did content on that channel, like I gotta, this is my full-time gig, so I wouldn't be even making money off those videos at the start. So, but I gotta get around to doing that before the new year, or else I'll be really disappointed. So I haven't really been playing too much Xbox. I was trying to play like through like Halo and stuff like that on Game Pass, but PS5 I have been playing a lot of. I've been playing through Spider-Man Miles Morales. What a fun game that is. What a great launch title. I've seen some people have like graphical glitches. I think I've seen Viper mention on Twitter a lot. I saw him in the chat. He's been having his PS5 like freeze up a lot on like certain games. I've been lucky so far that I haven't had that happen to me once or any launch issues. And it's not just Viper. I've read other people having these issues. So I'm very lucky there. Miles Morales is a lot of fun. I think I talked about before how I was disappointed though that it like already, first game of the next generation. It's like, all right, do you want to run this in 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second? Meanwhile, the box is like 8K gaming at 120 frames per second. Like, that's never happening. Thanks for the false advertising.
Well, actually, Call of Duty does have 120 hertz for mode, which is crazy to think, considering how good that game looks.
Yeah, I got to Call of Duty then. Damn, darn.
I mean, it looks really, literally. I watched Digital Foundry's breakdown on it. They were like, yeah, we're kind of surprised by this.
All right. Call of Duty, you're getting added to the cart tonight. So yeah, Spider-Man's really good. Still playing through that campaign. I was playing through Last of Us Part 2 again. I still haven't beat it, but I was playing on my PS5. Things were running smoothly there. Still a fun game. Still really good. But today, or last night, I should say, I was like, I want to try like another game. Another launch title for PS5 was Demon Souls. Now, Demon Souls, if you don't know, it's a Souls game. There's also Dark Souls, which is like the spiritual successor to Demon Souls. And they're like supposed to be like really tough games to beat. Like they're supposed to be like punishingly. Have you heard of these games, Travis? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't. I think maybe I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about it.
So it's like it's a little bit strange, like the premise of the game, but basically you're in like a medieval setting fighting like demons and stuff like that with like swords and arrows and whatever. And it's extremely difficult and it's very unforgiving. So if you you collect like souls to like level up and stuff like that, and if you die, you lose all that. And the game like doesn't tell you like, hey, if you die, you can go back to like where you died and collect that stuff. It doesn't even tell you that in the game. Like I discovered that like later on in the game, like, oh man, like when I died, I missed out on like leveling up like all this stuff. But like basic enemies can like give you trouble. And like if you play a lot of video games, like you run into like basic enemies and they're like kind of like a joke. It's like, okay, waiting for the boss fight. Like you run into like a regular enemy and it's like, ooh, I don't want to cross him. This guy's tough. So I've been playing through that. I kind of got addicted to it. So I've had a lot of like work to do. And like I was just playing it last night. I was playing it this morning. I was grinding. And I like really like it. I think it'd be a fun game to stream because it is so frustrating and so hard. I feel like people will get enjoyment out of you just like dying all the time. So I got to get my streaming setup redone. And I think I'm going to do that. I want to get HDR when I stream and my capture card doesn't do it. So I've not been streaming PS5 because I'm like, nah, I want my HDR. I want all my enjoyment. I paid for this setup. I'm not sacrificing my quality. But I got a new capture card on the way that does 4K HDR pass through. So
hey now,
it's going to be fun. Demon Souls, highly recommend it if you like tough games, RPG style, level up. Fun stuff, Travis.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll definitely get into more streaming stuff hopefully soon. I actually thought we were further towards the end than before, but we just spent a lot of time in beforecast. I actually realized that the show itself isn't that long. So yeah, from the gaming perspective, lots of cool things out there. You don't have to spend a lot of money. I'm still so disappointed in my internet cap. You don't understand. Like I was actually going to download a couple more games to try. Now I guess I only need to get through November. So for right now, what's that? 2 days, 3 days, 2.5 days, and I'm not going to be. You
got like a day after today.
So and they're not going to charge me. So maybe I should just download everything. They say they're maybe actually that's actually the move.
Yeah, download everything you need to tomorrow. Get that up. Start putting the downloads in. Just predict everything that you need to download. And
just get it now while I can.
Download like Netflix movies, just go crazy.
Just everything, so I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, that's nuts. I'm going to look up Unlimited after that because that's just annoying to me. Whatever. Anyway, iPhone. Oh, excuse me. iPhone 12 Pro Max. I did a
video.
Yeah.
I saw you post stuff on Twitter, like the camera lights and all that stuff. So
yeah, still unsure. So for those of you who didn't see, you'll actually have to watch I'm doing it right now with my. You know what I can do here? Actually, funny enough, I can use my iPhone as another camera and then switch it for the live stream. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to switch out to my iPhone. So hopefully you can see, or maybe you won't be able to see it because it doesn't Oh yeah, you can kind of see this thing. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. So for those of you in the audio podcast, I highly recommend that you watch the YouTube video, because I'm going to try to use my iPhone right now as a camera. Let's see, is it connected yet? And the reason why is because I came across a problem that apparently no one else is having, and that's when I take a picture at night with all right, let me try this right now. I take a picture at night with the iPhone. It gets this really bad I don't even know, what would you call that? I mean, you saw it, right?
Like the graininess or the lens flares?
The lens flares.
Yeah.
So it's still trying to connect. Anyway, and I had this, and it's bad on mine. So go watch my video on YouTube. It's bad. And no one else could seem to, and I can't get my camera to come up. Anyway, no one else apparently has this problem, which is kind of weird. A lot of people were like, it's grease on your, bro, it's not grease. I literally wipe before every shot, literally. I was almost offended with that. I mean, people were trying to help, but I'm like, come on, son.
You got grease on your camera.
I agree. Yeah, it's not grease on my camera. Okay. Some dude was talking about eating chicken. I'm like, bro, no. And I don't know, but that's what it looks like. So I technically, and in fairness, that actually is what it looks like. And it's I don't know what else to say about it. You saw the pictures, right?
Yes.
Have you tried a similar test? Because some people on Twitter did, and they did not have the same issue I had.
No, like I want to go purposely try it out, and I want to go take my 11 Pro and kind of do a comparison like you were doing. My results from when I was using the Pro Max a lot, I really like the photos out of it. So I didn't notice anything like, oh my God, these look bad. Your photos look bad. Like right out of, like I saw them. I'm like, that's the Pro Max. That's really bad.
Yeah.
So I didn't notice any of that, but at the same time, I couldn't really give you like super up-to-date stuff because I'm still using my Mini a lot. So I haven't returned to the Pro Max ever since I did my initial video on it. But I'm interested. When I go back and revisit the Pro Max, I'm going to definitely test out those camera situations more. I got to find an area like you where there was like a ton of light.
So you can't see the problem. So I'm showing myself on YouTube right now.
I can see it.
But do you see that little secondary thing? Now that's not even what I'm talking about. The ghosting is crazy though. Yeah. Look at that. Is that normal? Does everyone see ghosts? So I don't know if it's my lens or what, but that right there. Now I actually think that's part of the technology. I think it's ghosting like that for a reason. But what an interesting phenomenon here. Now I don't have any other phone to test this on to see if that's something. You don't have this software either. You should get this software and test it out to see if it happens on anything other than the Pro Max. Now the reason why
I got the software. I bought it.
Try it. Because here's the thing. The Pro Max does have a different camera setup than the Pro or the 12. So that's why that's why we say, well, you got to try it on a different phone because it's a different camera. So anyway, it's kind of weird.
Well, I didn't set this up, so
yes, I am.
But I noticed ghosting when I point at my light, so I don't think that's it either. That was noticeable in the screen. But yeah, the flares and stuff were really bad. And then just like the detail on some of the photos, like the Pro Max was like beating it. So it was a weird test. I wonder if there is like, you would never know, like if like I got a defective camera, like you would really never know if you had one, which is kind of weird to think about. I know if you like take it into an Apple store, they can like run like a diagnostic on it, and maybe they could tell you like, oh yeah, actually, this is broken. But I don't know. It's very interesting. I wonder what they would say. Like, hey, if you run a diagnostic on this, like, what is there anything wrong with it?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take more pictures. If you just go to my last video, you'll see all the example shots. They're in there. And by the way, oh yeah, so now someone's asking if because I saw a couple of people saying that now with a mask on, Face ID works. Mine does not work with my mask on.
Yeah, mine still works. I think it's only with this mask though. And someone like contacted me. It said something about the material in here allows for like the IR to pass through, and that's why it's working. But yeah, mine worked, but it used to not work on that mask. So I thought it was like Face ID, like learning my face and going, hey,
yeah,
whenever something's different here. Because Face ID is supposed to do that. It's supposed to learn your face over time and change, because your face naturally changes over time. You grow facial hair. Like there's different things that happen. And when Apple pitched Face ID, they said it learns your face over time and it stores all that data on the phone. So I thought it just learned that I was wearing a mask eventually, and that maybe with like the latest phones or a software update, they made it a little bit more forgiving with face masks. I like that it unlocks with face masks. That was like my biggest problem with the modern iPhones. Like I like Face ID a lot, but there's no way around it. Like during like this pandemic, like you have to wear a mask, and Touch ID is way more convenient in those instances. So I was very happy that it started working again, because it's been rough, like using your iPhone in the store. And it's like, oh my God, I got to enter my password every time.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, we'll have to, obviously this is something that no one could have guessed before the year started, that you'd almost have to go backwards and bring Touch ID or something similar back to the forefront, or just
it might, like, you know, who knows, like in like a year, like if everything goes well, this could be a way, and you might never see an event like this for like the next 100 years. And it's like, does Apple go, well, if it does happen again, this was such a bad experience, do we put Touch ID on our next phones anyway, just because like maybe we should prepare for this type of world?
So on the Android side of things, they've been pretty much, most Android manufacturers have both available to you, Face ID of some sort, face kind of unlock and something else. Okay. Gwendolyn says MKBHD has a similar thing, 7 minutes, 10 seconds, and his Pro Max talks about lens flare. So good. So I'm not the only one. I think definitely make sure you check out my video just to see the examples, but it's good that I'm not the only one. Having said all that, I feel like the answer is a hybrid. Is Face ID along with some type of touch fingerprint sensor-ish type thing. Now, is that going to happen for Apple? I don't know. I think our world has changed in a way that's, I don't know. I don't think the genie's out of the bottle. Like just the same way that after 9/11, we go through airports completely differently now. Everything's, now we're used to it now. I think there's going to be a lot of that that's going to be similar now, and we have to adjust accordingly. I hope not. I can't tell you how depressing it is to see all these stores close and all this other stuff, but I think there's certain aspects of this that are never going to, where we are changed forever. It's lasted too long for us not to be changed forever.
Agreed. I think behaviors will change. I think the virtual stuff, I think a lot of it will keep being virtual, because even if this goes away, and again, like events like this, if you look throughout history, they happen. They're usually spaced out pretty far apart to the point where like you forget about them, right? Like, oh my God, that happened 100 years ago. That's never going to happen in my time. And then it happens in your time.
Yep.
But people also learn from those things. And a lot of the things that you do, a lot of traditions that you do today stem back from problems people had in the past. So I think you're going to see a lot of stuff move virtually, because even if we ever have this again, well, one of the reasons why there were such big outbreaks was because there were, people gathered in like 20,000 things, and like, oh my God, like that's what caused the outbreak. So I think people are going to want to do their due diligence and kind of be more safe, especially for people at like the top, who like run these companies and stuff, right? Yeah, Touch ID and Face ID. I think it's an easy sell for Apple, because it's like, well, acknowledge the truth. Like, I love Face ID. I think it's better than Touch ID, honestly. But there are times like, hey, like my face is blocked off, and if I just had a fingerprint reader, it would unlock. Or same thing for Touch ID. If I'm wearing a glove, I can't use Touch ID. Oh, but Face ID would work. So you'd have both methods to unlock. And then what I think Apple should really do is they should have a little setting that goes, hey, you want to be super secure? Face unlock and Touch ID at the same time. And then what I would love for them to do is, if you have both of those methods, one of the things that really annoys me whenever you like reboot your iPhone is that it's like, oh, enter your password again, do this again. Like we had to reset Face ID, we had to reset Touch ID. And it does that a couple of times. Like even if you don't use like your device for a while, it'll reset.
Yep.
If they had both options, I would love for them to be like, okay, you don't have to enter your password, but we need a face scan and Touch ID at the same time. And that would be awesome. I would be so down for that.
I agree with that. And just to kind of briefly touch on this, I'm getting used to the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I still think it's too wide. Not everyone agrees with me, but that's okay. I do like the phone. The battery life is just as good as it ever was. I like the color somewhat. I like a lot about it. Listen, at the end of the day, it's just another iPhone, and it's hard to get super excited about it, but it's such a workhorse and does so much stuff. If I can figure out this camera thing, then I'm golden. I'm really golden.
Have you noticed any difference in RAM management with 6 gigabytes?
I've had a lot of people ask me that, and I haven't noticed it yet. I need to do the one or two things that used to happen to me all the time. In other words, I need to use SiriusXM a little bit more often than I have been, because that was one of the apps that kept closing.
I think that's just a bad app.
100% is. For various reasons it is, but I mean, not just that. Like, that was one of the ones that kept like just dropping out of RAM. And I want to see if that has anything to do with it. If it does, great. If it doesn't, awesome. I suspect it's better, because why else would they put it in there? Apple doesn't do things just for the sake of doing them, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in general, I haven't noticed any kind of, there's nothing that's happening that's making me going, oh, I wish this, worked differently. It's iOS. We kind of know how it works. And I've not had any problems. It does seem like the optimized phone for iOS 14. Not to say that any other phone doesn't work great in iOS 14. I think everything does. It just feels like the right OS for this particular phone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Genosis is saying in the chat that 6 gigabytes is awesome. His apps stay loaded for days now. Yeah, I'm like Travis. Like, I don't know. I've been switching between the normal version and the Pro version so much. I felt like I would notice more of a difference, but honestly, I really haven't. And that's a good thing too, by the way, because 4 gigabytes of RAM, you might hear that and go, oh my God, that's pretty low, especially if you're coming from Android. But I gotta say, it's still running pretty well, even on like the non-Pro phones. I've gone completely pretty much to the Mini. I thought battery life would eventually break me and I'd go back to the Pro Max, which, by the way, battery life is, like Travis said, it's fantastic. It's so good. But I've been using the Mini. The battery is worse, but honestly, I've been making it through the end of the day. What I did to get through the end of the day, by the way, was turn off 5G, because when I had 5G on, I would never make it to the end of the day. And I turned that off, and I've been doing pretty good. I started using my iPad more than I would as a consequence of like going to a smaller phone. It's like, well, I'll pick up the big screen, where before it's like, I'm lazy. I'm not going to get my iPad from the other side of the room. I'll just be on my Pro Max and stuff like that. So there's definitely like weaknesses and disadvantages, but I do like the small phone. I see a lot of people on Twitter coming to like similar conclusions. I do have small hands, by the way. I always say that. I really do. Like, I saw like Aaron Zolo, and he's like, the 12 Pro Max isn't big for me. And he has like his like fingers like touching each other, like wrapping around. I could like barely do that with like the Mini. I'm like, geez, like those are like monster hands. Like, all right. I know like MKBHD has like big hands and stuff like that too. So he always says that with his phones, but I really like the Mini. So it's been weird. I really do need to test the Pro Max out more though. I used it for like the initial week that I got it, and then like I've just been on the Mini ever since. And I need to do updated review on the Mini, and then I'll probably switch back over to the Pro Max to see what that experience is like.
Yeah, there was a question in chat about why Android eats through RAM. I think it's because they are allowed to, because there's so much RAM on Android devices that devs and app manufacturers are just like, okay, I mean, whatever. Like on iPhone, you have this much RAM all the time. Your base is like 4 gigs or whatever, which is the vast majority of phones out there. And Android, even the lower version, like the cheap version of phones, have like 4 gigs, and then it just goes up from there. So I think they're just allowed to manage it slightly different. It doesn't mean it's worse. It's just the differences are there. It's
I think the $350 Pixel 4a has 6 gigabytes of RAM. So
yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, like, that's like the stuff you know with Android. But Travis is right. Like, they have more RAM. So as a developer, to like, you can be like really inefficient with an app, and it will take as much RAM as it wants. And if you have the RAM, it'll run fine. But you can be more efficient with your code and stuff like that, and not bloat your app. And that's what Travis is saying. Like, iOS developers know, all right, we got 4 gigabytes of RAM. There's like 100 million of these phones out there, or whatever, more than that, but whatever. Like a ton of these phones out there. People are going to be using our app on this phone. We have to make sure it runs really well. So people will optimize their app to run for that lower amount of RAM. But on Android, they know, like, all right, we can, whatever, don't spend the extra time optimizing that. Just let it go and hog up some RAM, whatever. It can handle it. So it's kind of like this different philosophy there. But I'm for more RAM all the time anyway, and I'm
every day.
at least have 6.
So I want to real quick before we wrap it up, just mention that the Super Show. I can't remember if we talked about this in the beforecast or the real show, where we live stream across all of our channels. That'll probably be the same day that we do the call in, where we call people. So what I'd like to do, because that just makes sense, right? I think that makes it part of a fun part of the stream. So why don't we do this? If you want us to call you during that show, which we don't have a date set yet, but we will, go ahead and email us your phone number and your name. Now, the thing is, we're going to call it whatever time we do our live stream. So we don't know if you live somewhere where you're at work or something. I'm sorry. We'll leave you a voicemail, but we can only call when we can call. We're only going to call once. But feel free to email us. There's a link in the description as well as in the show notes for our email address. Just send us your phone number, your name, and maybe we'll call you live on the show during that super stream. That'll be fun.
Bob recommended Christmas Day. I love you all, but no, I'm not working on Christmas Day. Sorry, guys.
I'm doing a birthday live stream, which my birthday is the day after, but I don't think that's going to be the same thing as this. I think this is something separate. So
I mean, maybe I'd call on my own. Maybe I'd call someone random and be like, "Happy Christmas," but to dedicate a whole show to it.
No, I mean, we'll do it like maybe a New Year's or something like that. That'd be fun.
That'd be fun. Yeah. Listen, I think we're about to wrap up here. Just want to give a big shout out to Luke Miani's dad. Big listener.
That's right. Luke Miani apparently listens to the show. That's a funny. It's interesting to hear how relatives of ours are finding the show. Apparently, the week that Luke was on just a couple of weeks ago, his dad came across GadgetCast and then found Luke on it. He had no idea. So, hey to Luke Miani's dad. Hope that he's doing well, and every other family member that watches the show, which is kind of a weird thing to say.
Because I want to see if Luke gets back to me and says, "My dad said you shouted him out." So this is a test to see if Luke is telling me the truth or if he's just, And
this is a deep cut. We're at the end of the show, so that's a deep cut right there. You'd have to be listening pretty deep for that.
Yeah, he has to be like a super fan. But maybe he's like, this is like a console episode and he didn't make it. So I'm gonna shout out at the beginning of next episode if I don't hear anything back. We're gonna test this theory.
We're testing the theory every week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. He's Greg. I'm Travis. This is GadgetCast. We'll see you next week. There we go. That's how you do a GadgetCast.
Yes. I'm still recovering from like Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving leftovers. I've been like in like a coma. So I'm surprised I managed to get through the show, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is bruh. Yeah, I had a problem. I had a problem there. I had a problem that day. It was I fell out. I had prime rib though. I didn't have turkey. Somehow that's still not.
Prime rib sounds good though. I'd make that trade-off.
Prime rib. All right. Any quick questions before we go, everybody in the chat? We're just doing a quick aftercast. I got some stuff I need to do apparently. I need to stream more on Twitch too. But what kind of questions do we
do? More of everything.
Yeah. I also need to look at
how's the gig going on your televised show? How's that going?
Oh, it went well. They want me to do another one. I'm trying to think of what the next thing. I think we're going to talk about security on iOS devices and 5G. We're supposed to talk about, and what went really good, Rebecca. You actually can see I posted the link on my community tab on YouTube, and I tweeted it out. It was there's a YouTube video of it as well, in other words. So it was nationally syndicated, but it's also on YouTube. I linked to it on my community tab. So if you go to my channel and then click the community tab, you'll see it there. But it was good. It's good. And they really liked it. Apparently everyone who works at that company now, or works at that production company now, is subscribed to me, which is kind of funny to hear.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I guess they're really doped out. Checked out and finally like the M1. No surprise. I mean, why wouldn't he? It's, if he's a real tech geek, of course he would like it. Why wouldn't he? I haven't watched it, but I mean, why wouldn't he? The really silly thing was, why did he take so long why was he hating on it so early? Like, what was the deal there? He sounded very, very brand loyalish, which was weird. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I still have issue with that last video he did because he still like ends it going, "I'm still mad at Apple because they put out vague charts," and I'm just like, yeah, but like literally every company does that. Like, how are you going to take issue with that? Like, name me one company that doesn't put out vague charts. Like, come on, like. We know they were talking about listen, they were talking about the Intel processors in their own MacBooks, but they don't want to go out and say, hey, our old MacBooks sucked. Like, that's just company 101. Like, they don't want to go out and say that. Like, they're still selling Intel Macs. They're still selling them. They don't want to impact sales. So read between the lines. Don't get all like, why would that be your one hanging point? Like, he literally ends up, I'm still mad at them for doing this. And I like Linus a lot. I actually really like his content. I'm a big fan of Linus. And even though like I usually disagree with him, like I find his opinions like really interesting. I just still don't know why he's like hung up on that. Like, you're a smart guy. Like, come on, you know the show. You know it. This isn't your first tech conference show.
So I think the different OLED makers did happen, but it just wasn't. It wasn't with that one company.
It's LG and Samsung.
Samsung, yeah.
Two OLED makers. It used to be just Samsung. BOE failed the test, which is why, Prosser told us these phones were going to be $650 because BOE was so cheap. But correctly, the analyst, Greg, when that information came out a while back, no, go watch my video. The information came out a while back. I said, LG's the supplier now. This phone's going to be $700 starting because LG charges a lot more for a panel.
Yeah. I do have some recommendations on this. If you go to my channel, depending on what your budget is, I have, first of all, right now on sale, $550 is the S20 FE. Get that. If you can't, that's still too high. I have 2 different videos on my channel about budget, under $300 and under $500. Go check those out. Whenever Travis is referenced to TV, I'm reminded of that soap op picture on Twitter, a soap opera picture. Oh, is it the lady, the gas in Spanish? Is that the one? I'm guessing. I'm assuming. Saw Greg Ratio Linus on Twitter too. I didn't see that. I don't know what that is.
I basically put out that tweet like, the charts were vague.
Tony. Oh, jeez. Why doesn't have Greg in his Discord? Oof.
Listen, I told my moderators very specifically that there's a lot of content. No, there's a lot of content I have to do, and I'm extremely busy, believe it or not. I've been extremely busy. I also have a personal life that I do have to balance when I'm not doing tech stuff. So that's it. Like, I've been really busy. As silly as it sounds, like going into like Discord, like interacting, like it takes a lot out of you. And
well, my Discord's fairly dead, and I like it that way. So there might be a message every other day or so, and I can reply to all of those. Every once in a while, someone will come in.
My Discord though. And it touched me. Like, I did pop in for like a few seconds the other day, and someone was like, I'm so happy all the people I've met in Greg's Discord. This is such a great community.
Oh,
everyone's so friendly. And I was like,
that's so nice.
What?
That is the best.
Built the community.
I love the community. The community. Yeah, I wish I knew how many.
All right. I got to ask. Listen, I did a live stream over on Amazon Live recently.
You did?
ESR. It was sponsored content for ESR cases. They've done sponsored stuff on my channel a bunch of times throughout the years. They actually have a really good case. They're really inexpensive, and the quality's good for the price. They sent me so many cases.
Yeah, that happens. That's why I don't even ask
for
cases.
What to do with these guys?
So much, dude.
Do I give these away? Like, if I saw someone on the street and you need an iPhone 12 Pro Max case, I'll give it for free. Like, I'll hand these out. I don't know what to do with these. Like, I don't want to throw them away, but I'm about to go in front of an Apple store and be like, yo, you need a 12
that happens to me all the time, man. It happens all the time. Oh, he's talking about the TV show I was on. Yeah, I get those. That's why I stopped asking for that stuff. The same thing for the glass screen protectors. I'm like, I don't want all these. So like, I want the stuff, and I'm like, no, I don't want any of it anymore. I'm just going to buy the $5 or $10 case and say, because it becomes a pain. It becomes a pain.
I love their kickstand case. I think this is like the best.
Oh, those are great. Yeah.
It's just like a little
great. When is your Werther's original podcast going to happen?
It's going to happen one day. I was actually thinking about starting another show strangely enough.
You should.
And it was just, I wanted to do something that was personality driven and not a tech topic show where I could just talk to people, and maybe we talk about tech, maybe we talk about what they do, but I just wanted to kind of do like solo interviews or solo conversations. I had that idea. I don't know if I'll ever pursue it, but I was like, that might be a fun thing to try.
I mean, I've done it. It's fun, but I've done it. So you go ahead and have fun. I know you can do it. You got it, Greg. You got it.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be like a ton of work, and like you'd be reaching.
It is. That's why I have you doing it. I hated it.
Like,
oh my God, it's terrible.
Like, we love having guests on, but it's just so nice to know, like, all right, me and Travis are going to be here every week, and that's it. Like, if we don't want to search for a guest, we don't have to. Like, it's just
right.
Show. Searching for guests all the time, I would just be like, oh my God, I got a guest this week. What am I going to do?
It was so stressful for me, dude. Especially when I was doing the MMA podcast, it was terrible. Okay, anyway, gotta run, but thanks everyone for joining us. We'll definitely see you next week. Catch all of our videos on our channels.
Thanks for joining the show.
All right, everybody. Peace and love. Peace and love. Pink.